because Valentine's Day is coming up, I thought I would start off by sharing a couple of little stories about some couples in love. So the first story is about a couple who are sitting out on the patio of their house, and they're at the table, and the wife says, you know, she's drinking her wine, and she says, I love you. I love you. How could I ever live without you? And the husband says, is that you, or is that the wine talking? And she says, it's me talking to the wine. We have, in this human form, we have ideas that we've created in our own head about that we have flaws, that we have problems, that we have challenges, that we have habits that may or may not need to be changed. We have things that have gone on in our lives that we might be less than pleased with. We might be ashamed. We might have regret. We might experience guilt. So we have all of these things in our minds going on in this human form, and we feel like we need to hide these. We want love. We want to receive love. We want to accept love, but yet there is this idea underneath that how we are, exactly as we are, we're afraid maybe that people are not going to love us just the way we are. The song said, don't go changing to try and please me. But yet that's exactly what we have a tendency to do, isn't it? We hide ourselves. We hide those parts of ourselves that we think are flawed so that other people will like us, so that other people will love us. And so when we're hiding a portion of who we are, when we're hiding that part of us, are we really then living the life that we love? Are we actually then able to love ourselves just the way we are? And if we can't love ourselves the way we are we able then to rise up and love anyone else the way they are? So we play a lot of these games, and there's a lot of energy and a lot of activity. Because we really do want to show up in our presence. We want to be whole. We want to be authentic. We want to be who we are and still be loved, still be accepted, and still be appreciated, but we've got that disconnect. We've got those ideas that people won't understand us, they won't love us. Even Vincent van Gogh lamented, I wish they would just take me as I am. And so we have a lot of these games that we play. And this month is about living the life, discovering the life you love. But we go, how can we, and I asked this just a minute ago, how can we actually live the life we love when we're not even being the people that we are? Last week I talked about living the dash. And when we're hiding out, when we're trying to bury parts of who we are, we're not living the dash. We are then really, as I mentioned last week, we are existing in the dash. Because we're not showing up. We've got a lot of this stuff that we pile on ourselves. We have reason after reason after reason after reason why we're less than whole, why we're less than beautiful, why we're less than valuable. We have all these reasons, and yet we'll say, well, I'll live my dash when? I'll live it when I'm retired. I'll live it when the kids grow up. I'll live it when I have more money. I'll be happy with myself and love myself when I'm more healthy, when I'm thinner, when I'm in a relationship. We have all of these things that we pile on ourselves, and what happens? It stops us from living now. It stops us from expressing that beauty, that joy, that magnificence, that glory that is really residing in us as we are. And so I'm loving this book, The Untethered Soul. And, whenever I'm in a book, then a lot of stuff is coming out of my mouth. And so I said this a couple of times, even this week after class. And in this book, he says, we've only ever had one problem. We've only ever had one problem. And that problem is the voice inside of our head. And this is so simple, but so true. It is the voice inside of our head that tells us we need to change. We want to change. I mean, we want to grow and develop spiritually. We want to become more awake and aware. We want to express our true nature, and we want to uncover our dreams. So that kind of changing is okay, but the voice inside of our head tells us we need to change because we're not okay. Because we are comparing ourselves to other people. Because we're not fitting into this perfect, whatever this perfect life is. And so that voice talks to us and we listen, and this creates the problems for us. But when we're listening to that voice, we are not being who we are. We're not being who we meant to be. We're being some small part of ourselves. We're being ashamed. We're being careful. We're being locked behind a wall. We're boxing ourselves into an idea of who we are. We're feeling less than. We're feeling a lot of things that is far and away what it is that we really are and what it is that we have come to express and come to be. So we want to accept ourselves as is. We want to accept ourselves as is. We want to also accept others as is. Not only do we want to be accepted just as we are, but we need to begin to accept ourselves first. And stop trying to hide. Stop trying to make excuses. Just embrace the wholeness of who we are, remembering that there is only one thing. And that one thing is God, that one thing is light, that one thing is love, that one thing is energy, that one thing is perfection and wholeness and health and vibrancy and vitality and enthusiasm. That one thing is creation, that one thing is the activity of life. There's just one thing, and it's everywhere, and therefore it has to be right where we are. That one thing is us. But we forget and we forget and we forget. So we don't have to do anything to be more godlike. We just need to really, well, I guess if we were going to do anything to be more godlike, we would really want to get rid of the layers of piles of stuff that's not the truth to reveal our own godlikeness. But even our stuff is still godlike because it's all God. It's all the essence of the one. Everything. So Bob Proctor writes this. He says, remember, you do not have a contract to live forever. Nor is this a practice run. This is your life, and you should be enjoying it to the fullest extent humanly possible. But sometimes we feel like it's a practice run, doesn't it? We trade our life maybe for a paycheck. We trade our life for doing things out of guilt and obligation. We trade our life to be of service maybe to an idea that doesn't serve us, that's really not ours. We trade our life for someone else's dream. And that's not living life to the fullest. And since this isn't a practice run, do we want to really give up that energy and that vitality? Do we want to give up that love? Do we want to give up that idea and put our lives on hold as we are existing in that dash? Or do we want to really express the truth and the wholeness of who we are? And that means that we need to really move forward in a greater way to accepting ourselves completely and wholly, and to accepting others, and to allowing life to unfold perfectly. We might be at school, or we're at work, we're with coworkers, we're in the grocery store, we're anywhere, and we make a huge faux pas. We say something hugely wrong. You know, who says it's wrong? We do. But okay, and maybe it didn't get taken the right way, and that person now has moved on, chances are. Maybe they say something, but you know what, they're not agonized, because they got their own life to worry about. And they have their own faux pas to worry about. But we're stuck in that stuckness. And we agonize maybe for hours, maybe for days. Maybe, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I apologize? Why didn't I go here? Why do I always do the same thing over and over again? When am I ever going to learn? And so here's how we think we're learning. Next time, we're not going to be as open. We're not going to be as available. We're not going to be as authentic. We're going to put that wall up and be perfect because we don't want to do anything wrong. We don't want other people to think badly of us because we so desire to be valued, honored, and noticed. We so long to be loved and accepted. But we also feel like we can't be loved and accepted just the way we are with all of the faux pas that we do. You know? And so the joy is when we're in our own stuff, we're completely self-absorbed. But if we get out of ourselves, we know everybody's the same. They're in their own stuff. So we're all in it together. We're all in it together, and we have to laugh at ourselves because it really all is the enjoyment and the joy of life. We came here with love. We came here as love. Love is what we are. God is love. We've all heard that. So if there's only one thing and that one thing is God, and that one thing is love, therefore God is love, therefore we are love, and it is the essence of all that we are. It is that loving energy that activates us. And that is the truth of who we are. We are love. How good a job are we doing that? Are we loving ourselves? Are we loving other people? Are we loving our bodies? Are we loving our life? Are we loving where we live? Are we loving our job? Are we loving God? Or are we so busy maneuvering and manipulating and trying not to express any faux pas that we've completely forgot about the love essence that we are, and now we're just like a duck, really looking good on the outside, on the surface, but paddling like crazy with it underneath. So in our own mind, are we really going on and on and on and on and on and having a lot of mental energy about what it's going to take for us to show up and look good? You know, and we want to look good. Remember Ricardo Montalban? And I don't know when this was, but it was in the Johnny Carson show. And here's what he said to Johnny Carson: "I'd rather look good than feel good." Well, and that's sometimes how we are. We want to look good. You look marvelous. Remember? Well, there was shirts in those days. All right, I'm dating myself, but you know, dating all of us. But we want to look marvelous. We want to look good. We'd rather look good, many of us, than feel good. We want to play that game that when people are looking at us, they see something. They see success, and they see charm, and they see charisma, and they see fabulous relationships, and they see good shoes, and they see whatever it is they see. We want to look good because we're so worried about being the us that we are that's not always that attractive because we're afraid people are going to reject us. We all long to be loved. We all do. We all want to be noticed, loved, valued, but it really must start with our own selves. We need to rise up and love our own selves. So when we're comparing ourselves to others and coming up lacking, when we're creating chaos and drama in our lives, when we're putting our lives and our dreams on hold until some greater time, those are all characteristics of ways that we don't love ourselves. When we say no to opportunities, when we withhold a little bit of our love, when we're protecting our heart, those are ways that we are showing that we are not loving ourselves. And sometimes maybe it takes a chance. It's a risk. It might feel risky, but the truth of the matter is, because we so identify ourselves with these bodies and these flaws and these ideas that we have, we feel we need protection, but it's beyond that. We are so much more than we think we are. We are that presence and power of the divine. We are wholeness. We are love. We are light. We are passionate. We are beyond the physical plane in so many ways, but we need a body to have fun here on earth. Otherwise, we would just be energy in essence, formless. We would be the formless stuff in bliss, completely loving. But we want to have some fun with these bodies, so we cover it up. But we're so much beyond that. We really can't be hurt. Because we're beyond being hurt, because we are the life and the intelligence and the love and the activity and the energy of the one. the infinite, the formless, the creator. When we can remember that, we are a little bit more free, perhaps, to laugh at ourselves and our foibles, and not, as the untethered soul might say, not follow our internal mind chatter where it wants to take us. And our internal mind chatter, our monkey mind, wants to take us to places where it's not so fun. Our monkey mind wants to tell us that we're less than, that we need to change to be loved, that nobody loves us, that we're not important, that we need to do this in order to be loved, that we need to keep our distance, that for whatever reason, it tells us a lot of different things, and that's where we have a tendency to follow. But it's taking us, I came to a fork in the road, and that we're going on the road that is not less traveled. We are going on the road that is so comfortable and familiar. But the road less traveled is the road where it's like, oh, let's not go there again. I already know where that road leads. We are so much more than we think we are, and when we can remember that, we are more easily to step into accepting ourselves completely as is. Really and truly is the meaning of having a heart, of having love, of giving love, of accepting ourselves as is. As is being open and available, of being proud of the life's ups and downs, the challenges, the glories, the defeats, the victories, the successes, and yes, even the failures. It's all part and parcel of the life that we call ours. That we call ours. And so when we can learn to accept ourselves through it all, because we are more than we think we are, because we are the life of the divine in expression, when we can rise up to a newer place, to recognize that all that we've been through has all been the activity of the divine. It's all part of that beautiful, wonderful tapestry of life. It all serves, if we allow it, it serves to help us integrate more fully the different pieces of who we are, and set our hearts in that way and fill ourselves with love and compassion for our own selves. We'll be able to more fully accept ourselves as is. We'll be more fully able to accept others as is. And then we'll move into those infinite possibilities